Guys, ESPN put out its future power rankings list yesterday, which means take 2026 out of the equation. It does not matter for this whatsoever. This is for 2027 through 2029. They had a panel of voters vote on each team in 4 separate categories. Those categories and how they were weighted. Quarterback was weighted 20% of the grade. The roster outside of the quarterback was graded at 30% or weighted at 30%. The front office and coaching each weighted at 25%. I'm going to show you the top 6 teams in ESPN's future power rankings. And it looks a little something like this. The Seattle Seahawks coming in at number 1. The Eagles at 2. The Lions at 3. The Broncos at 4. The Rams at 5. And the Patriots at 6. The Browns not on the top 6 of ESPN's future power rankings. Instead, the Browns find themselves in the bottom 6 of the ESPN power rankings, coming in at number 28. 1 spot behind Kevin Stefanski's new home with the Atlanta Falcons. And just ahead of the Jets, the Steelers, the Dolphins, and the Cardinals. Now, ESPN went on to explain their grading, showing what each team got. The Browns at quarterback got a 63.75, which ranked 29th out of 30.
Hey, there's 3 worse.
There were 3 worse in this situation. The roster as a whole, 73.25. That was 24th out of 32 teams. The front office got the highest score with the 74. That was 21st. And the coaching got a 73.25, which was 29th, just like the quarterbacks. We're going to bring Tyvis Powell in now to help us break this down. Tyvis, the Browns coming in at number 28. Do you agree with ESPN's assessment in their future power rankings that the Browns are one of the 6 worst teams set up for 2027 through 2029?
Honestly, I think when you look at it, I think that when you look at the quarterback and the coaching, right, and the roster, I think that those things aren't answered yet. You know, when you look at the Browns roster, it's a very young roster, right? You got a lot of the people that you depend on are either rookies or second-year guys. So it's hard to just say that these guys, it's hard to project that these rookies are going to be this. So that's going to take a hit right there. When it comes to coaching, this is Todd Monken's first year as a head coach. Nobody knows what you're going to expect out of that. So you can't really give him a judge. You have to wait till the season plays out to see how he does as a coach to even give him a bump there. And in the quarterback situation, obviously, there's so many people saying that this is the worst quarterback room in the league. So you got to wait to see how those guys play out. So I think it's fair to have them where they are now because there's a bunch of what ifs or a bunch of unknowns that we don't know yet. So yeah, I think that's a good ranking. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have them above Atlanta. I like Atlanta's roster a little bit better than ours.
Yeah, I think Tyvis is. When the season comes, it'd be tough to do like projections because we'd be like, all right, well we about to see it today, like the projection, like so. I'm looking at it in real time, like. But if you talking about if somebody put the Browns at 29th or 30th, and those are the criterias, I can't get mad at you for saying that because you're like, okay, well, it's a first year head coach. I don't know what he's gonna do.
Even the biggest Browns hater that's sitting in the first chair to the left, all the way to the left. Even he said that, yes. Even you said that it would take this roster is going to take about a year away. Yeah. So you can't even say, to say like, that they're better than what they are. We don't know because you think that they need another year anyways. So I'm sure you're good with where they ranked at.
I think they're right where they should be. Like you want to argue over 1 or 2 spots, but they're at the bottom of the league, guys. Like, I'm sorry, that's the reality where they're at. I don't hate anyone. I'm just blunt and realistic. And some people don't like truth. It just makes them crazy. So I can't worry about that.
Well, I look at it. If 30%, Dustin, is for the quarterback,
right?
And some people will say right now, okay, well, if you had to handicap the situation, who do you think is the quarterback? And if people say it's Deshaun Watson. How could you then have optimism for the future if you think Deshaun Watson is not going to be here?
Right.
So that's
and the head coach has never coached before. That's going to be at the bottom.
That's another, right?
Would anybody put the Browns front office in the top half of the league?
They've had a good draft, and
they had
a draft that is
okay.
On paper, it's good.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
So what?
the interesting thing about it is they pride themselves. They want to be like Philadelphia, and it's funny that Philadelphia is 2, and a lot of the things we do is kind of trying to be similar and mirror what Philadelphia
That's
does.
100% true.
It's kind of funny that they're 2, and we what are we? What was our front office rank? 20 what?
The front office
21st
itself?
was the front office, I think, right?
Okay.
21.
The front office, 21st. Yes.
But I think I would agree, guys. I do think the front office is trending up. Like the trending up, like, so yeah, we had to trade Myles Garrett, but I think we got as best we could for Myles Garrett, right? I think that they had 2 really not last year's class. We'll see what this year's class is. And I think it can trend up. Like if Mason Graham turns out to be, if he's a force and he's a top 5 pick and you traded that pick and got those picks, I think that helps you. If E-Man turns out to be a guy that's going to play a lot for you, these receivers turn out to be good, that means you had 2 good drafts. You know, you've mitigated some things with, you know, Deshaun Watson to a certain extent. And at certain points, I think they're trending upwards. Do they still have to do more? Yes.
Yeah.
We got a lot of guys there's a lot of guys that got to prove it this year. I mean, you got the talent there with if those wide receivers, if Bond, Boston, and Concepcion turn into what we think that they can be, first of all, it's going to make any quarterback go out there and play look much better than what it is. You need that offensive line to hit because you spent a lot of money on that offensive line. And when it comes to the run game, I think all of us is in unison saying it's a little shaky right now. A little shaky. I'm not really sold on that. So to me, those are the 2 big components. That offensive line, the quarterback thing, we're going to see. I think that, like I said, if them receivers is good and Harold Fannin is good, I think that can ease a lot of our bonds on the quarterback play. I think that you can't get average quarterback play out of any one of those guys. I think Shedeur kind of got a little more razzle-dazzle to him when you talk about pushing the ball down the field. Deshaun is much more on time, on pace, run the script how Todd wants it. So whatever, right? But I think if you got the playmakers on the outside, that makes everything better. And if that offensive line holds up in the run game particularly, I think that this roster would be just fine.
What do you want to see this week? We talked about it a little bit earlier. What do you want to see this week in terms of what Shedeur Sanders is able to do and Deshaun Watson if he's playing? Now, they've already come out and said Deshaun's going to play in the 3rd quarter, but they've also said that if they get everything to work they need to get in with the Bills, that a lot of the starters won't play. So I think that's still up in the air. But in terms of Shedeur, you know, this is still his opportunity to go out there to start a game, to get split reps against the Buffalo Bills. When you go back and look at the film, I thought he, you know, off first glance, I thought he played better than I thought in some of the areas that I wanted him to play, which is protection stuff, stepping up in the pocket, avoiding the rush, looking more confident, and still giving you some of the splash plays. The interception, you know, we still need to eliminate those turnovers. But what are you expecting to see this week, and what do you want to see from Shedeur Sanders this week?
Honestly, I think that with Deshaun, I love the way that he executed that first 15 scripted plays. I thought that he was in rhythm. I thought he was on time. I thought all of that was great. I think that if Shedeur goes out there and executes that first 15 the way Deshaun did, then to me personally, I would roll with Shedeur as the starting quarterback on the season because he gives you that aspect of you have to defend every blade of grass. When it came to Deshaun, I thought he did a great job of executing, you know, getting the ball out, hitting guys on the drive starters and doing all those things, getting the chains moving, putting up the points and all of those things. But there's still that component of if I'm a DB, nobody's threatening me deep. You ain't pushing the ball down the field. So I can still be flat-footed as a safety. To which Shedeur, you got to defend every blade of grass. And I think that ultimately that opens up things. You think about a safety being flat-footed with not having to worry about being pushed down the field. Now you can add me into the run fit. I'm a quicker to trigger on the run, and now that hurts the running backs. So to me, I think that with Deshaun, I want him to see some plays more, push the ball a little bit more than 10 yards down the field. Give me a 15 or 20 yarder to ease my mind on that. And when it comes to Shedeur, I want to see him execute. I want to see him play on time. I want to see him get the ball, read the defense right away. Boom. All right, this is what they in. Boom. I'm supposed to go right here, get the ball out in a timely manner. You know, like play on time a little bit more. I think that if you could do that, to me, you always go with the younger guy in that situation.
Do you feel like we've got like too low of a bar or too low of expectations for what they're doing offensively, especially at the quarterback position? I feel like, we were talking about all these players. We're just like, hey man, can we get out? Can we get out of the huddle? Can we get the snap count right? You know what I mean? Can we deliver the football? Can we not have a false start? Can we not, all these little things that you should be cleaned up on, like, already? I feel like that is such a low standard for a professional organization that, and that's kind of been the bar over the last year from a quarterback standpoint.
Yeah.
Is it too low, or is it like, will that be good enough because we now have some decent weapons?
I think it depends on who you ask. If you ask me, I'm not paying attention to that part. The procedural stuff, the pre-snap stuff, I'm not necessarily paying attention to that. That to me is a requirement. If you're the starting quarterback, like, that shouldn't be something that I'm worried about. And the good news is I don't really recall that happening in the preseason game. I think that everything seemed pretty smooth. So I didn't really see the procedural stuff that we might have seen in practice. I didn't see that in the game. Now, it could be game plan, game calls, maybe that it was more basic, so you didn't have to worry about doing all the extra stuff, which obviously when the season comes, that changes. But for the one game that I've actually seen, I didn't see a lot of procedural stuff that made me raise my eyebrows. For me, as a quarterback, what I'm looking for is, can you get the chains moving? Can you get the ball down the field? Can you protect the football? And can you ultimately end your drive? This is where I'm at. All I want for my quarterback is to get 2 first downs. If he can give me 2 first downs in each possession, then now we can flip the field every single time and we can win that game, because I know that defense is going to be lights out. If he can't get me just 2 first downs, now that makes it hard. Now, obviously, I want the touchdowns. But for the bare minimum, just give me 2 first downs.
All right, we'll end up on this, Tyvis. Is there anything Shedeur can do in this next week? We talked about it with Jason. He thinks this is a foregone conclusion. Is there anything in your mind Shedeur Sanders can do this week and in the from the scrimmage and in the preseason game to win this quarterback competition? Or do you think Todd Monken has his mind made up?
I think that I wouldn't say that Todd probably has his mind fully made up. I'd say that the majority of it is made up, but there is also room left for Shedeur Sanders. I think that they're trying to give Shedeur every opportunity, because I do think they want Shedeur to be the starting quarterback. I think that they're not naive to the fact that, hey, we got this guy, he could potentially be here longer. There is some excitement around him. He could do a little bit more offensively when it comes to pushing the ball down the field than the other guys can right now. So I think that it's not a foregone conclusion. I do think it's heavily leaned to Deshaun. I think that if Shedeur wants to change the script and flip everything, and that joint practice, he got to execute the offense. It can't be no procedural things. It's got to be to the point where he knows that offense so well that if somebody lined up, he go grab him. Hey, you over there. You flip it, boom, and we get it all done in a quick before the 24 seconds play clock is over. Out of that, I think that I want to see him get the ball out in a timely manner. There's going to be, in practice, they're going to be running blitzes and stunts and things like that. So that offensive line is going to need him to be able to get that ball out in a timely manner. It's got to look a little bit more like what Deshaun was doing in that scripted 15, okay? And as the game goes on and as practice goes on, all right, now we're gonna dial up some things. We're going to get you some things where we got that tight end sitting inside a little bit more to get you some of those deeper developing routes if they do want to send 6 or want to send 5 or whatever the case may be. Then those are the moments where you make them pay with the deeper developing routes and things like that. So he executes those 2 things and obviously don't turn the ball over. But I get it. In this league, with the guy that he is, he's going to take some risk at times. It has to be a calculated risk. It has to be something that it was a 50-50 ball to a guy and the DB just made a great play on it and got the interception. Like, if that's the case, that's part of the game. That is what it is. But to me, I think it's about operating the offense, getting the ball out in a timely manner, and the procedural stuff. To me, if he could do those 3 things right there, he could be the starting quarterback week 1, and I wouldn't have no issue with that. And I don't think anybody else would either.
Tyvis, I want to shift gears and ask you a question that Mikey McNuggets asked us earlier here on the panel, and that is Casey Concepcion is potentially going to be a punt returner this year for the Browns, and the conversation was revolving around the idea that he could have potentially 3 touchdown returns this year. Is that outrageous?
Yes. Yes.
And this is coming from
you talking about punt return or kick return? Which one we talking? Punt return or kick
Punt.
return?
Punt.
Yeah, that's outrageous. Because if he gets 2, they're not kicking it to him no more. It's done. He will never see it again. It will be corner call for punt or punting out of bounds. If he returns 2, he won't see it again.
Listen, Tyvis, I thought you was gonna get it off, man, but
Hey, what's your daughter
Yeah,
watching?
no.
What's on in the background? What is that? My ADD's been trying to figure out what that is.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
hey, man,
You see, the thing is, they got their TV. My TV sitting right here. You can't see it. So, like, I'm faced this way, Jason. So I don't know what's going on back there. If it wasn't for the camera, I would not know. Oh, yeah, this is
babysitter
why I went
of
to
the year,
I went to
Tyvis
the
Powell.
doctor today. Make sure y'all go to the doctor and get checked out. You know, get your blood drawn, get your tetanus shots, and all that stuff.
You got your physical? Your yearly physical today?
I mean, they ain't make me cough. They ain't make me cough or nothing like
See,
that.
this is
But,
crazy.
yeah, no, I
This is
got it.
Yeah, this is hard work. This is why we gotta get him off the screen. Get him off the screens. Yeah. The day I host, you want to come in here with that type of action? Nah, man, we're not doing that. Nah.